congratulations on the new show.
Thank you.
Now, you did 100 shows there a couple of years ago. How does it feel to go back?
It's a privilege to be invited back. Yeah. That's a good sign. No, it's really wonderful. I'm producing a completely different show than my last presidency. I'm also enjoying now reuniting with fans that I've had long-term relationships with now since the 90s, that were small children then and who are now party age.
And maybe even bringing their own kids.
Bringing their own kids or coming to party with their parents.
Yeah.
And I love seeing that generation gap. I love, eliminated and watching that gap get closed between parents and their kids who are now, now they're having a beer together or whatever. So I'm just embracing being part of that experience, and that I've been part of bridging that generation gap.
Well, you've been performing on stage since you were about 8 years old. How has performing changed? Is it still for you just completely the connection with the audience, and it's the same whether you're 8 years old singing in a bar in Canada or doing it in Las Vegas? You just want to make that connection.
For some reason, that connection for me, I've never even thought about it. It's just always been there. I wouldn't be able to break it down and intellectualize it in any way. I mean, starting at 8 years old, maybe at that age, you can safely say that you haven't started intellectualizing things yet. You're still innocent, and I would have been experiencing it as a very pure and natural thing to do. And besides, I've always had terrible stage fright. So I would have to have, I think the only way to deal with it would have been to just forget about what I was doing. And jump right into we're all in this together, to not feel isolated. And I still do the same exact thing. I need, and I'm always, especially now this show, because I'm producing this show, I'm designing the show to be, I'm just in the middle of this wonderful party, and the viewer may, I do hope that the audience feels that, and that they sense that we're all in it together. But I'm going to design it even more so that way this time around. And so, nothing's changed. I'm still the 8-year-old who is afraid to go on stage. And as soon as I'm embraced by the audience, then I don't feel like I'm standing alone.
Well, how do you make that first step if you have such terrible stage fright? And I get it, John Lennon, so many people have it. How do you make that first step onto the stage then?
It's not a step, it's a leap. It's a jump. Pavarotti said every night before going on stage, just before going on stage, okay, everybody, it's time to die. Wow. Because it feels like you're crossing a threshold, this petrifying threshold, and it is literally a leap. It's the unknown every night. That's the thing about live. It's so unknown. You could, I don't even want to say it, but things happen that are unexpected. We'll knock wood somewhere here. Things happen that are unexpected. Sometimes you forget the words. I mean, how embarrassing is that? So if you think about everything that could go wrong, which is normally what somebody with stage fright does. You go through this panic for a bit, and then once you've crossed that threshold and you've taken the leap, now I feel once I'm there that I'm embraced by the audience, and it's over.
How do you prepare for a show now? You had you've written about it in your autobiography, you had some vocal problems, and it has made a difference in the way that you prepare on the day.
Definitely. I mean, it's made a big difference in the way I sound. There are, in some areas, subtle differences, in other areas, bigger differences. So a lot of it at the beginning was just fear of, what am I even capable of doing? Right. How will my stamina be? It's a very athletic thing to be a singer for 90 minutes a night, nonstop, and When you're an active performer as well, you're running around everywhere. You've got to pace everything. So my preparation, first of all, is fitness, getting fit. Secondly, I do a lot more warming up than I ever had to do before. And in my case, I don't have a voice problem in the sense of my vocal cords. I have a neurological problem from the Lyme disease. So the nerves that trigger the voice are weak. That will never recover. I just have to accept that. And I've had to face and challenge myself to work with it and around it. So it's like having a weak knee and trying to walk without a limp.
Right.
I mean, it's as simple as that. And you never know when the knee's going to give out on you. So you have to be brave about it and accept that is now what I'm performing with. So I proved to myself that I can do it, that I have the courage to do it. But it's not easy. I mean, I have more of a challenge. I have to warm up for a couple of hours every night.
That's right. So you just can't walk out on stage and do it. And
I can't sing in an impromptu situation. That really breaks my heart.
I hear, everyone who came in the wave, sort of at your point where you went away for a little while.
Yeah.
A lot of people came up and they use words like icon. They use words like trailblazer. They say we wouldn't be here if not for Shania.
That's awesome.
And how does that make you feel? Because you can't wake up in the morning and go, I am an icon. Look at my icon.
My iconness.
Yes, my iconness. Are
you
you
know,
able
for
to
a long time.
compute it even,
Well, it's interesting. Until I started working again in music, after contemplating live stage for a long time, and maybe even at some point I did say, I can't do it. I mean, how can I do it if I don't know when it's going to give out or whatever? I mean, it's just terrible feeling. So I did give up on it for a while. But while all of this, what people call trailblazing and icon building and all of that was happening, I definitely had no idea. I was not focused or aware of any of that element of what Shania meant to other people or what the music meant to other people as artists. I was just doing it. I think when you're really busy doing it, you're not thinking about how important you are or anything like that. And it wasn't until I came back that I realized how important I am.
Well, you know what? I mean, I think sometimes you have to step away. The shows in Las Vegas were such a triumph the last time, and they will be again this time. And, after having that period where you thought you may never sing live again, and overcoming all the obstacles, do you ever think of yourself as a role model for people to look at and say, get back on that bike and do something that maybe you thought you would never be able to do again?
I'm like by the skin of my teeth still doing this. And I don't mean by luck. I mean by I found the courage somewhere to do it and face the fear of unknown, putting all the effort. I would say to my husband all the time, I'm putting all this effort, not even knowing if I'm even going to still be able to do it. Like I could be putting all this therapy and everything, the pain that I'm going through trying to be a singer again, and it may not even work. That takes a lot of courage, because at the end, you don't know if you're going to achieve what you set out to achieve. Now, so being invited to do a long-term residency in Las Vegas, not once but twice, it's such a privilege that I would never, I'm just feeling I'm in this really grateful headspace, and I think it would be a shame to waste it.
Do you see yourself as someone who pushes boundaries?
Definitely. I think just by following your own by being original, and if you're yourself, you are original. The more you're yourself, the more original you are. That is risk-taking right there. You know, not following anybody else and being brave enough to be yourself and not be swayed by dissuasion or by criticism or fear of not being accepted. You just cannot be unique that way.
Shania, thanks so much. What a
Thank
pleasure to see
you.
you. Yeah. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Thank you.